and my parents somewhat convinced me to come to Dubai, and somehow they trapped me here.
Well, look, the name of the podcast is The Dubai Life. So I always like to start about how you ended up here in Dubai. And
Wow.
I think I know you've been here for quite a while, so I imagine it's an interesting story. But take me back to the initial thought of coming to Dubai. It was 2001, so very, very different, unimaginable.
I came here in 94.
Oh, 94.
Yes.
Even more so.
2001 was some other things, but no, we came here. My father, we were living in Sydney, Australia. Very high tax rate, socialist system, you could say. My father got sick of having the Australian government as his biggest shareholder.
Yeah.
So, and he had been back and forth with Dubai over the decades. My uncle used to live here in the 80s, and he decided to come here. He met a very nice family and decided to do business. So I came here for the first time in 94, officially moved here in 96. So 29, 31 years I've been in Dubai, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen it all change.
Literally, you've seen it.
I always tell everyone this very funny story. I think it would be interesting for your audience. When I came here, Sheikh Zayed Road was 2 lanes with speed bumps. And it was quite dangerous because in the evening, there wasn't a lot of good light in certain areas, especially when you were getting closer to Abu Dhabi border. And so people would hit these speed bumps without seeing them, at crazy speeds. And it used to take 3 hours and 45 minutes to go from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, because it wasn't a straight line either. It was
okay.
all over the place. So now I think it takes 1 hour or something like that to get to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
But yeah, since I've been here 31 years, 29 years, let's say full time, I got into real estate 25 years ago at the beginning of freehold, but more so as an investor. Myself, my family, we'd made a lot of investments into Imar projects, into Nakil projects, Palm Jumeirah Islands, Marina, JBR, a lot of that stuff. So we're talking about, at a time when prices were very different than they are now.
Yeah, well, everything was very different than what it is. So how old were you? Take me back a little bit. When you landed here, how old were you?
So
Not to
I'm much older than I look.
Okay.
I was 19 when I first came here, and I was 21 when I moved here.
Were you excited to move? Because I would imagine being a 19-year-old from Sydney, Australia, where everything's going on.
It's a funny story because, originally the first few times it was just a visit. When I was 21, I was a bit of a bad boy in Sydney, and my parents somewhat convinced me to come to Dubai, and somehow they trapped me here. My father made me buy a car, so he loaded on some debt that I had to be responsible for, and I came here for a 1 month holiday when I was 21, and I've been here now 29 years from then. So this year I'm celebrating the big 5-0. I know I don't look it, of course, but the big 5-0 this year.
Nice. Okay, amazing. And that should be a headline, I think. How to keep your child in the place that you want them to.
Till debt.
Get them into debt.
No, but in that time, Dubai was, we were living in the Creek, which was the prominent area of Dubai at the time.
British
Creek Tower. And I had no intentions of staying here, but they trapped me here. Then I started working in my father's business, interior furnishings.
That was the business.
That was the business, family business. So my father has been in flooring furnishings for more than 50 years. Okay. And when they came here, it was a flooring company that we created, carpet land, and then curtain land, then rug land. Dubai land used to belong to us. I always make a joke that,
Yeah.
the CEO of Dubai Land at the time was also my friend. I said, "Oh, we're going to sue you," but we didn't have to buy that. But yeah,
that would have been a pretty tough case. Okay, amazing. And so you got involved in real estate. You mentioned the prices, but also there must have been so much back then that the population wasn't obviously not what it was today, but the vision was still there. Or what were you buying into off plan with the vision of what?
To be honest, for me, I wasn't looking at from an investment standpoint at the beginning. It was more so home ownership.
Yeah.
I can give you some examples. When and I think it was before it was called Nakil, it was called Istithmar or something like this. When I bought the shoreline apartment for myself, I bought a 1-bedroom shoreline for 600,000 dirhams. Okay. And in that time, I had the means. We had successful businesses. I had a side business. Me and my brother brought skateboarding to the region, Rage. We had cycling business. So we were doing well. Young entrepreneurs doing well. Of course, in that time, we could only rent, as expatriates. And I guess it was an interesting opportunity to be able to buy and own. And this was, when freehold, it first started off as leasehold, then it became freehold. When all of that came about, it was an exciting time for expatriates living here. I don't think people, we weren't talking about international investors. It was people here mostly that were investing. And yeah, it was small town. Everyone knew each other. I was fortunate enough because our family business, the flooring business, would make money through these developments before anyone would make money. And I tell you why, because we were doing the flooring for the sales centers for Imar, for example. Right? So we made money before anyone else made money.
Nice.
And then, of course, we also knew everyone there because we were a supplier. We get invited. And it was like fruit markets. People fighting to get units.
Yeah.
I think it's still the same in some of the projects, depends on the developer or whatever. But it was chaos. And, I guess that also added a little bit of excitement to the whole idea of investing in Dubai.